In this video, we are going to talk about the top 10 greatest NASCAR cars of all time. So before starting, please like this video and subscribe to this channel for future updates. Let's start. Number 10. 1971 to 1974 Dodge Charger. Richard Petty may have become a legend driving blue Plymouths in the 1960s, but his most successful racing car was the 1971 to 1974 Dodge Charger. Petty's blue and red STP Charger was a staple of NASCAR from 1972 to 1977. In 1976, he finished second to David Pearson after a last-lap crash sent them both spinning at the base of the tri-oval. Petty won 3 of his 7 Winston Cup victories in the Charger in 1972, 1974, and 1975. To avoid losing Petty, NASCAR took the unprecedented step of prolonging the Charger's eligibility by a year, through the 1977 racing season. After all, no one wanted to see Petty drive anything except a Chrysler. 9. 1951-54 Hudson Hornet. There was no such thing as a star in early NASCAR. That is until the fabulous Hudson Hornet appeared. Marshall Teague's fabulous Hudson Hornet competed in AAA, Independent Wildcat, and NASCAR events. The Hudson's low-slung chassis, lightweight, and exceptional handling could overcome the flathead 6-cylinder engine's limitations and win races. In 1951, Teague proved it could by handily winning the 39-lap race on the Daytona beach sand/road layout. But Teague wasn't the kind to chase titles or Bill France Sr. So, in the middle of the 1951 season, Herb Thomas switched to a Hudson Hornet, winning 7 races and the NASCAR Grand National Season title. Tim Flock won the 1952 title in a less-than-fabulous Hudson. Then Herb Thomas returned in 1953 and 1954, winning 12 races, though losing the championship to Lee Petty. Number 8. 1955 Chrysler 300. In 1955, NASCAR stock cars looked almost identical to regular manufacturing cars. Even if the race cars didn't have license plates or headlights, they were nonetheless equipped with basic safety equipment. The original Chrysler 300 dominated all other production automobiles during the 1955 NASCAR Grand National Season. Mercury Outboard founder Carl fielded a white fleet of Chrysler 300s. And it started with the 4th race of the season, 39 laps of the Daytona Beach and Road track. Tim Flock won that race and went on to win the season title by winning 18 of 38 races. Kiefer's Chryslers were immaculately prepared, stunning to look at, and expertly driven. They were the automobiles that defined big league stock car racing. Number 7. 1966 and 1967 Plymouth Belvedere. Today, when you say Hemi, everyone understands you mean Chrysler's iconic V8. But the term would be meaningless without Richard Petty's exploits with the 426 Hemi in the 1966 and 1967 NASCAR Grand National seasons. In the 1966 Daytona 500, Petty used the enormous power of the Hemi engine to overcome recurrent tire issues and win the race, his second. He won 7 more races that season to finish 3rd overall. Petty lost the 1967 Daytona 500 to Mario Andretti, but he didn't lose much else. During a difficult 49-race season, Petty started 48 and won 27. And he finished in the top 10 40 times. It was the most dominant season-long performance in NASCAR history and a significant feat in motorsport. Petty's Belvederes of 1966 and 1967 made NASCAR unmissable. Number 6. 1995 to 1999 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Chevrolet cloned Ford with the 1995 Monte Carlo. Examine the 95 Monte production automobile. It had front-wheel drive instead of the rear, and a V6 instead of a V8, but the basic body form is identical to the 1987 Ford Thunderbird. The 1987 Thunderbird was maybe the most perfect shape for NASCAR racing ever created. Sterling Marlin won his 2nd consecutive Daytona 500 in 1995 driving a Monte Carlo. This Monte Carlo belonged to a teenage Jeff Gordon. Gordon won the 1995 Winston Cup Championship in a thrilling fight with Dale Earnhardt, also in a new Monte Carlo. Then he won again in 1997 and 1998 in Monte Carlo. Fans' favorite Jeff Gordon race car is the rainbow-colored 1995-99 Monte Carlo. Number 5. 1986-1988 Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS Aerodeck. Ford's 1983-86 Thunderbird was a unique challenge for NASCAR. It was definitely the most aerodynamic car in GM's race-eligible inventory. Because of the car's shortened formal roofline, air flowed off before it could rest on the deck lid and provide stabilizing downforce. The Monte Carlo needed a redesigned tail to compete with the T-Bird. The 1986 Monte Carlo SS Aerodeck had that tail. With a wide piece of sloping glass over the trunk, it finally brought aerodynamic stability to the Ford. Dale Earnhardt used it best. Earnhardt's yellow and blue Richard Childress prepared 3 in the 1986 Daytona 500. It was Aerodeck versus. His Monte Carlo had won the Busch Clash All-Star race and one of the two 125-mile qualifying races. He could seemingly drive it wherever on the track. But Earnhardt got the Daytona bug that year when he ran out of fuel with 3 laps to go. Earnhardt had a terrific year in 1986, winning 5 races, finishing 5th 23 times, and winning his second Winston Cup. With 11 victories in 1987, he won his 3rd title. And for the 1988 season, his Monte Carlo Aerodeck finally got its due. Black. Number 4. 1987-1988 Ford Thunderbird. Ford's 1987 Thunderbird was a car designed to drive quickly. The 1987 T-Bird was fashioned like a perfect missile, from the sleek beak to the slightly lifted trunk lid. Bill Elliott's T-Bird remains the fastest NASCAR stock car to lap Daytona and any track. By the time the 1987 Bird arrived, Bill Elliott's Corse-sponsored Fords were already a legendary super team of the 1980s. During the 1985 season, Elliott won 11 races in the less aerodynamic 83-86 Thunderbird, earning a $1 million bonus for winning 3 of the Big Four: Daytona 500, Winston 500, World 600, and Southern 500. For minimal drag and high-speed stability, the 87 Thunderbird was clearly modeled after the 83 design. Elliott won the 87 Daytona 500 with an average speed of 176.263 miles per hour, setting 2 new records. Elliott then qualified for the Winston 500 at Talladega faster than he did at Daytona, at 212.809 miles per hour. Because of Bobby Allison's crash that year, this record is unlikely to be broken. Number 3. 1975-1976 Chevrolet Laguna Type S3. By the mid-1970s, Detroit automakers' enthusiasm for NASCAR had waned, as the country seemed more concerned with fuel efficiency than performance. Then, out of nowhere, Chevrolet produced the Laguna Type S3 midsize Chevelle and dominated the Premier Series. The Type S3 had a sloping shovel nose and was debuted in mid-1975. The shape worked for Junior Johnson and Cale Yarborough. They won 9 races and the title in 1976. Then they won the Daytona 500 8 times in 1977. With 6 wins for Darrell Waltrip and DeGard Chevrolets, NASCAR felt compelled to act. So the S3 was banned from competition in 1978 due to engine rules. Aside from that, NASCAR authorized the Chevrolet small block V8 to be put in any GM body shell Buick, Cadillac, theoretically. That was the S3. Number 2. 1969 Ford Torino Talladega and Mercury Cyclone Spoiler 2. When Richard Petty saw what Plymouth, his longtime sponsor, had to offer for 1969, he chose the long-nose Ford Torino Talladega. Ford thought aerodynamics would be critical when NASCAR debuted at Talladega Superspeedway in 1969, so they enlarged the Torino Fastback's nose, put a flush grille, and lowered the rear bumper. They named it Talladega. The Cyclone Spoiler 2 was created to keep Mercury in the game. The 428 Cobra jet engine, which Ford never intended for racing, was used in a small quantity of the slippery pair to get them homologated. Instead, Ford manufactured a few Boss 429 Mustangs to test the open-port engine in NASCAR. Strange. Leroy Yarbrough won the 1969 Daytona 500 with a Junior Johnson-prepared Torino Talladega. David Pearson, driving a Holman Moody Talladegas, will win 11 races and the 1969 season title. Richard Petty won 10 more races in Fords and finished second overall. Number 1. 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona and 1970 Plymouth Superbird. For a season and a half in NASCAR, Chrysler's winged cars competed. Their outlandish style, rapid on-track success, and sheer daring created an unforgettable image. During the 1969 NASCAR season, Dodge and Plymouth's current production cars' bodywork was obstinately anti-aerodynamic. There were deep tunneled rear windows that split up the air as it fell down the roof. In reality, the Dodge Charger was the least aerodynamic of all the automobiles Mopar built at the time, a car whose sales would undoubtedly benefit from NASCAR success. Dodge built the Charger 500 to tidy up the Charger. The car had a flat front and a rear window flush with the roofline. The Charger 500 was a half step forward and a flop. So Dodge took the Charger 500 and gave it a large shark-like nose and a 23-inch high wing on the tail. The result was the Charger Daytona, an automobile that could fly through the air and stay stable at 200 miles per hour. On March 24, 1970, Buddy Baker became the first driver to lap over 200 miles per hour in the 426 Hemi-powered No. 88 Daytona. The Charger Daytona won its debut race, the 1969 Talladega 500, and was Bobby Isaac's primary ride in his 1970 championship run. Chrysler used the Daytona formula to build the 1970 Superbird, based on the Plymouth Road Runner. And Pete Hamilton's No. 40 Petty Enterprises Superbird won the 1970 Daytona 500. Which one of the above is your favorite car? Let us know in the comment box below. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel for our future updates. Thank you.